Bleav in Vikings following a loss to the Lions, a regrettable one that I guess the group for the most part here foresaw coming, but maybe not quite as a little bit more competitiveness would have been preferred. But Bryant, you notably hinted that this could happen, and it did. Was this kind of how you thought it would play out when the Lions won by 11?
I didn't think it would be by 11.
Mm-hmm.
Um, y'all was saying like how the Lions was playing, kind of good or whatever, but I think this is a team like, okay, this is a game that'll wake them up. I feel like they should have a better game after this. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing them probably finish like with 4 losses overall, which should
Yeah.
still keep them in good shape.
Oh, it certainly would.
Um,
That would mean that only mean there'll only be one left.
right. I can see one more sneaking up in there. But I mean, the Lions they are on a roll, like we said, and I guess they're trying to end the season off on a good note, and they're trying to be spoilers for teams too. You know what I mean? So, and that's normally how it happens. You have teams like those who are kind of battling for the playoffs, but they at least want to be spoilers for other people who they can tell are making it. And then maybe they underestimated them a little bit. It's kind of based off record and, beating them earlier in the season. But to go to Detroit, I guess, with the momentum they have, going to cause them a little trouble.
That game for the Lions was also season saving in the sense that it keeps their wild card hopes alive. And if any of you are as geeky as me and you play around with the machines, the Lions actually have a realistic path to the wild card. And it's not like the Packers where they need like 4 weird things to happen and they run the table. The Lions can actually probably lose one more game and get a little help, but they are in a decent shape solely because they beat the Vikings. Sally, I can't remember how Ron landed, but Sally, I know you and I feared what happened, and it came true just because it was a hot team. Not necessarily the Vikings even being complacent. It was just, he didn't have Darisaw, he didn't have Hitman, and they looked out like overmatched. So does the dejection that came out of that loss about how you thought you'd feel when you predicted Lions over Vikings?
Um, I'm not really sure because I think if you look at how successful the offense was when it comes to numbers, when it comes to 425 yards for Kirk, and then, Justin Jefferson 223, looking at the scoreboard and then looking at those stats, my instinct would be to think that that was garbage time that they were putting up numbers like that. Not that they were playing like that much success on offense throughout the game and still lost by 11 points. Obviously, we knew that the defense was struggling, wasn't good. They're ranked 32nd in the league. We knew they weren't good, but to see it that blatantly was pretty sick.
32 in the league.
Say that again.
Whose defense is 32?
Vikings and yards allowed
really?
anyway. And the yards allowed. Yeah.
They and I've seen somebody speak on that. Commentator that spoke on how the defense is kind of letting down the Vikings just this week, but I didn't know they were 32 in the run.
Yeah, here's the deal. It's strange. They leak like a sieve. They allow all these yards, but somehow they're usually pretty dynamic in the red zone and they prevent the team from scoring a lot. And then I don't know what happens, but in the fourth quarter of most games, they literally turn into like a top 10 defense per, expected points added. So it's this really strange thing where on the whole, they're a Swiss cheesy defense, but when it matters, they get good. And I don't know what stops them from doing that the whole game. Like, that's what I would say if I worked there. Like, hey, guys, do it. You do it in the fourth quarter. Do it in the first quarter.
Well, and they're getting turnovers at the end of games, too.
Yeah.
In a couple games now, they've had turnovers decide the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I've tried to preach this week to anybody to listen, that this defense is absolutely atrocious if it is not forcing turnovers. If sins are masked or there's deodorant, if the turnovers happen, then it's passable, but not like this. If you get 0 turnovers, you're up a creek. Ron, so Kirk Cousins, to me, looked the best that I have seen him throwing the ball since about 2018. Like, every throw just seemed there, and there wasn't, I don't think, any point in the game, unlike most Kirk games where you can look back and be like, yeah, he screwed the pooch here. No, the whole game for him was utterly flawless. What does it say about the Vikings that they can employ a quarterback who does that but still lose by 11 points?
Well, yeah, I think I agree. Kirk was like he was dropping them in a bucket the entire game. Even Hawkinson on that drive had that drop on the sideline, but every throw was right on the money. Now, where I think Kirk was let down, aside from the defense and their faults throughout the game, I mean, lack of pressure. We can point fingers, whether at the D coordinator or the personnel, whatever it is. Either way, they're not getting pressure. For me, I thought the biggest or damning thing for the Vikings on Sunday was I think O'Connell either tried to get too cute with it or was just outcoached. And it goes back to, the Dalvin Cook fumble, like that play. Like it's first down, inside the 5 or whatever it is, and you have a chance to tie the game, go into overtime, go into halftime, get the ball back. Like one, why are you trying a gadget play that we haven't seen at all? Like it's not like Derrick Henry where they do it a few times a year. And on first down when you want to eat some of the clock anyways. Like why would you want your defense to go back out there? So that I thought was faulty. Also, what is up with this new toss to Dalvin um to go up the middle? Like he has no momentum going forward, so he's catching it at a standstill in the backfield while your center and right guard are getting just absolutely blasted. I don't understand that at all. And then I know the analytics, I'm a big analytics fan myself, say go for 2 when you're down by 2 scores, but at that point in the game there's zero reason to do it. I get it if it's in the fourth quarter to try to mitigate the risk of going to overtime, but in the third quarter, why are we doing it there? And then the onside kick. If your defense can't get a stop anyways, why would you give them the opportunity to potentially kick a field goal, like if not getting one stop, rather than maybe getting a first down and then giving yourself a chance for the ball? So I thought this was, and I'm not saying it's going to be a trend out of them, but I think O'Connell let the offense down in that regard because Kirk was dealing, Jefferson was playing extremely well. Like the offense was rolling, and that's without 2 starters on the offensive line. So um, again, we can talk about the defense even more, but it's the Lions are playing well. We have to give them that, but also Jared Goff had too many clean pockets throughout the game, and that was frustrating.
I think I don't have any defense or explanation for the onside kick. That one was flabbergasting to me. On the analytics calculators for going for 2 when you're trailing like that, the only problem is the analytics calculators don't know about the Vikings. They don't know about shit that happens to the Vikings, and neither does O'Connell yet. And so he's playing it like, a young whippersnapper that says, all right, it's in all likelihood, we're going to get one of these 2-point conversions, whether we get it now or we get it with the game on the line. So that was the mindset there. It may have been a little bit early for it, but it's one of those things where if he got it, he looks like absolute genius, because then you have the momentum and all you need is the score. But the other thing that the analytics calculator doesn't know about is the Vikings extra point acumen. So if Joseph comes in, he probably misses it, and then we're back at a tie ball game. But that's neither here nor there. Brian, I've been dying to ask you this all week. I don't know. Maybe Ron has. Whoever asked you this, because the defense has played so poor since the Dallas game, all of a sudden there's a lot of sentiment by fans to fire the defensive coordinator. In 2012, right around this time on the calendar, your team, the Ravens, fired Cameron, the offensive coordinator, in favor of Jim Caldwell. How did that go down? I don't care about how he was fired, but how did you acclimate to a new guy like that?
I was implemented back in. Back into the equation. But a lot of the guys didn't really care for the former guy anyway. So we were kind of happy to have Caldwell come in and take the helms over, and it lift the guys' spirits. I just want to give you a heads up. Somebody may join us. We might have a guest pop up in like a minute or so. So I just want to give you a heads up to look out for the window. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yep, there he comes. I don't. Does he know about the modern Vikings? We're about to find out.
Right, so
what's up?
Yo.
What up, EJ?
What's up? You hear me? You see me?
Yeah, we see you.
We got you.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Y'all caught me when I was leaving the game, so we gotta wing it and make it work.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
What game
Leaving
are you
what
leaving?
game?
I said we gotta wing it and make it work.
No, you're
game are
leaving
you
one of the
leaving?
Suns games.
Oh. Okay.
It's Edgerrin James.
I'm leaving at my son.
Oh wow. Okay. I don't know if the listeners hear that, but this is Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, how you doing, sir?
I'm chilling, man. Everybody good?
Absolutely.
So we played the Colts this week, so
Yeah.
what better guess to
Perfect.
have?
Yeah, I think
Perfect timing.
we got a slight echo, but I think we can make
Yeah,
that work.
if it's on speaker, that's probably why.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Nope, never mind.
That's the best I got for right now.
No, that's all good. We'll make it work, sir. All right, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. Edgerrin, the Vikings or the Colts coming to town, Minneapolis. The Colts are 4-8-1. What do you expect from the Colts in this contest?
Oh, we can't hear you.
We got some technical difficulties.
So can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah.
Okay, I put the earpiece on, so
Okay,
Perfect.
it's better.
it's better. Now go ahead and ask me that question again.
Oh, sure. So the Colts 4-8-1. Jeff Saturday is the skipper. They're heading to Minneapolis to play the 10-3 Vikings. And I guess off the cuff here, I want to know, what do you expect from the Colts in this game?
Well, they got to go out and play hard. They got to finish. You know, that's the thing they got to do. They got to finish. Minnesota a good team, but if Detroit can do it, anybody can do it.
We're catching strays all of a sudden. All right.
It's not the same old Lions. I'll stand by that.
Detroit can do it. Anybody can do it.
The Vikings hooked them up with enough draft picks that they're going to be all right now.
We've been hearing that for 50 years.
It's true.
What do you think the long-term, or at least off-season plan, Edgerrin, is for the Colts? Does Saturday parlay this into a full-time gig, or is this truly interim?
I really don't know, you know, but I know the owner's going to do whatever it takes to get the Colts in the best position to win. You know, that's a franchise that's been known for winning, and the guy, he's been around a long time, so he's going to make the right decision when the time comes. But right now, we're in the midst of a football season.
Sure.
We just got to finish this thing the best we can.
Yep, and they're coming off a bye week, which I think some of us Vikings personnel have forgot about. A very late bye week. They did get crushed by the Cowboys in week 13. But the last two times, I don't know how closely you study Vikings history, Edgerrin, probably not. The last two times these two teams have played, the Vikings have looked like shit, like total shit in 2016 and 2020. So, and overall, the Vikings haven't beat the Colts in 25 years. So there's a lot of bad voodoo going on for the Vikings. We shall see.
I hope it keeps going.
Yeah, you would say something like that. Do you have any Vikings?
Why wouldn't I? Why? I'm a Colt. Why wouldn't I? Y'all brought the wrong person on the show.
No. Well, here's the funny part.
That's what we love.
Yeah, when you popped up here on the icon, it said EJ's iPhone. I thought it was EJ Henderson, who used to play for the Vikings. And so I was about ready.
Couldn't see.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who that is. But...
You probably gotten him. You probably should have gotten him if you wanted.
No, we get enough of him. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
So Edgerrin, I'll hop in here. I got a question. So there's one game I remember distinctly from the Vikings versus the Colts, and it's because I remember the year we had multiple games where our offense scored too quickly and our defense gave up points to Ryan Longwell twice and Vanderjack on the other side. But what play in particular that I'm thinking of, and might have been 06 then or something like that. Vikings were at Indy and we scored very quickly. And then there was a play, Peyton Manning, obviously, one of the GOATs. Someone had him nearly in his grasp and it was a dump off. Like you were on the receiving end of it, but basically it kept the drive alive. Yeah. And Vanderjack went on to kick a field goal like that. So my question is, in the moment like that, obviously playing with one of the greatest to ever play the game in Peyton, in a play like that, when you were obviously very good in pass protection as well as everything else you did well, running the ball, catching the ball, when you turn around and have Patrick Mahomes does it a lot these days, where the unexpected nature of the play may not be dialed up. What are you thinking in that moment as a running back that, hey, this ball might be coming my way? And that's the first play that comes to mind which brings that question up.
I think when you play in football, it goes back to your natural instincts. And then anybody that plays football, plays sandlot football, get out there as a kid. When the play breaks down, you just go back to sandlot football and, hey, get me the ball any way you can. And we got to do what we got to do to win or to try to keep the drive going. So everything's designed to go a certain way, but when it breaks down, hey, we gotta finesse this thing, and we gotta just improvise, and that's what usually happens. And you see a lot with Patrick Mahomes. When it breaks down, he just improvising, and he goes back to playing the childhood game that he's always played, and trying to make something happen.
Okay. Bryant, I usually ask the guest this, but I'll ask you. I'll be fair this time. Do you got an Edgerrin James memory you can share with the group?
Not really on the field. We weren't there at the same time in the University of Miami.
Yeah.
And then we're both on offense too, so I didn't really, see him on the field or nothing like that. So nothing on really on the field too much.
Well, It doesn't have to be on the field. We want to know about off the field.
Yeah, you come up
about a TMI. What about a TMI? Hey, you got to pay for the good stuff. Man.
Oh, okay. I respect that. We can talk about the quarterback.
The after hours. We gotta protect the after hours. We hang out. Nightlife.
I hear you.
You gotta be there. You gotta witness it. You gotta witness it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the quarterback. What do you think? They have Matt Ryan, obviously, who has not been playing well, and then they've got Nick Foles on the bench. Do you think that they consider mixing it up? Because Jeff Saturday said he's not even thinking about it.
But I haven't been paying attention where I'm inside of the rooms and knowing what's going on and know the reasons why. So whatever decision they make, they're going to try to do what's best for the team. They're going to try to make the right decision. So I'm not going to be somebody that jump in and try to play sideline coach. Let them do what they do, and I'm gonna watch it, and whatever happens, happens.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, Ed, you want to give us a prediction? We haven't got to that little segment yet. Are you going to take the Colts, or what do you got for Week 15 prediction, Vikings-Colts?
Well, the thing about this game right here, you got two of my favorite running backs. I like Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, I watched him in high school, and of course he went to Florida State, so he's a rival. He leaves Miami to go to Florida State, so he always pays him. But the chance, anytime you get a chance to watch somebody in youth football and go to high school and watch them have success, you're always pulling for them. And then JT, Jonathan Taylor, he's been great for the Colts. He's been doing everything we would want out of that position. So you're pulling for them. So I think the game comes down to whichever one of them have the best game, that's who's going to win the game.
So you mentioned Jonathan Taylor, and obviously, he's in his young career, he's proven to be one of the best in the league. And, it pains me to say that for a Wisconsin kid, because being on this side of the border, everything that side is I'm not too fond of. But now with obviously the very the newsworthy with hiring of Jeff Saturday. Now, I don't care about how he got the job or whatever. I'm going back. Obviously, you played with Jeff Saturday, and in my mind, being an offensive lineman, I'm sure he wants to run the ball more than anything and taking advantage of that beast in the backfield. But what are some things about Jeff Saturday and the way he's approached the game since he's been the coach that make it kind of, whether it's better or not, but different from what Frank Reich did while he was there to start the year?
Well, I don't know exactly what the difference is, but it's a different coach, and he has to go with what he knows, the things that he's learned throughout his playing career, and he has two former head coaches on the staff, so he has enough people around there helping him make decisions. So he's going to do everything he can to try to keep the guys going. If you look at the game, like the game against Dallas, they played 3 good quarters and it just went turnover, and the game just got out of hand. So just playing good, solid ball. When you play against the game against Philadelphia Eagles, it came down to the last possession. Last possession, they were winning the game, and so they're not too far off. It's like they're in the ball game. It's just a matter of when things get out of hand. The Dallas game, everything just went left. But if you watch that game all the way through halftime, you was like, okay, yeah, they're playing some good ball all the way to the third quarter. So Saturday he's going to do what he knows. He's been around it enough, and football doesn't change. It doesn't change. They need to make sure they get the quarterback play on point, get Jonathan Taylor in sync with things, and unfortunately we didn't have the defense with everybody. But that's part of the game.
Okay. And then the other part, again, you mentioned Jonathan Taylor. So the Colts, obviously, they're since '98 or since the Manning draft, they've been blessed with, two franchise quarterbacks, for however long that was until Luck's abrupt retirement. But one of the underrated things about that Colt franchise is even, before your time, Marshall Faulk was there, and then on to you. And then, since then, they've had good running backs, and now obviously Jonathan Taylor. What is it like, being in a position group for that franchise? Obviously, it's a storied franchise, but having your name mentioned among the greats, again, past and present.
What was the
I'm sorry, I think we're connection.
What's the question again?
Oh, sorry. Like with a franchise that obviously like has the name recognition of the quarterbacks. Obviously, it's there with the running backs as well. Going back to Marshall Faulk before you, Joseph Adai after you, and some other notable names on to Jonathan Taylor. What is it like knowing that you are considered one of the greatest to ever play for that franchise at your position? How does that feel?
Well, that's one thing you kind of set out to do. I think if you play the game, you want to be one of the best to ever do it. And to go to play for the Colts and knowing that Marshall Faulk was there and that Eric Dickerson was there and Lenny Moore was there, and they have so many guys that played before you, you want to uphold that end of the bargain. You want to make sure you represent and do the things that the greats do. You have proven examples that actually was in that same building or wore that same uniform. So it just gives you an extra motivation to say, man, look, I'm playing in the same position that some of the greatest that ever played the game played in. JT, he's very receptive. He's a young kid. He's humble. He asks questions, and he wants to do great things. So those are things that you look for in somebody young, and that's somebody that you root for. You help them as much as you can. You kind of give them that extra energy or the extra boost. Just let them know that you're pulling for them.
All right, Bryant. So Edgerrin says whichever running back has the better day, that man's team will be triumphant. Last week, most of the panel picked the Lions, and I think Ron ended up talking himself into it out of logic. So we're not, homers here that just pick the Vikings every week. Bryant, who do you got this week? Colts at Vikings.
I'm still waiting on Darisaw to come back because I feel like the left tackle was a big factor.
He's
and we missed two offensive linemen last weekend, correct?
Yeah, Gary Bradbury is a maybe. I don't think he'll play, but Darisaw is back.
All right, so Darisaw is back. So that's a big improvement to have your left tackle back, who's been going for about 3 weeks now. Having him back is good. Just really need the defense to really kind of step up. I feel like offense has been pretty productive all season long. And like we talked about last week in Detroit, how Jefferson had a great game and, offense was doing their thing, just wasn't, held up on the defensive side of the ball. So we're at home, so hopefully, the crowd gets behind our defense and, creates a lot of noise and everything like that. So I am going to say, and he just came off a loss. So I'm going to go with the Vikings this week.
Okay. Sally, I have Vikings rebounding proficiently 40-21, if you can believe that. What do you got, Sally?
40. Oh my gosh. Look, I mean, if they don't win this game, I think there's a problem. No disrespect to the Colts whatsoever, but I mean, if they're 31st in scoring offense and the Vikings are 32nd in points allowed, it should be interesting to see how that plays out. I think the Vikings will win. If they don't, they got a lot more issues. But 40 points. I'm going to go 35-24.
Okay. If the Vikings lose this game, they will probably end up living in the 3 seed. You can kiss the 2 seed goodbye, and then you got to start worrying about the Bucks or the Seahawks dipping at their heels for the 4th seed. Because if they lose the Colts, it will indicate that we're going to have a little downturn after some of this 10-3 noise. Ron, what's your pick?
Well, so yeah, I think we're kind of all in the same boat in the sense that our offense has been rolling. Obviously, the Colts without Leonard, that's huge because he's one of the best linebackers in the league. DeForest Buckner, I feel like, is going to feast up front, just because he plays that position that he's going to line up, over Ed Ingram, and if Bradbury doesn't play Schlottman, then so that's going to be tough. But I hope that our offense is able to prevail. I do worry about our defense and, Matt Ryan being a former MVP, allowing him to look like that former MVP again. I mean, keep in mind when they threw up the graphic, on Sunday, that we've allowed whatever, like 400 plus passing yards, and to the quarterbacks that we've done it to, Mike White, Mac Jones, Goff, and whoever else is mixed in there. Like, we've given up 2 miles of passing yards in the past month. And Matt Ryan, you don't last this long in the league and win an MVP without having talent. So that's concerning. But I do see our offense, again, coming back home the way that they were rolling last week. I see them, continuing that. Hopefully we can get the running game off the ground, and then most importantly, slow their running game. Yeah, and it's hard to say over 30 the way that everything has been going. But I think I'm with you guys there. I think probably about 34-23 would be my prediction. Sorry, Edgerrin.
Nah, no worries. You'll see.
Well, yeah.
Whichever team, whichever running back has the best day, that's who's gonna win.
Yeah, I'm gonna hear your voice in my head Saturday afternoon, hearing, yeah, we'll see. When things are going.
Just make sure you call me and say Edge is right.
Yeah. All right, Edge, you have any final thoughts? Good sir.
No final thoughts. I pretty much, the game doesn't change. I mean, you got two teams like that, and remember, if Detroit can do it, anybody can do it.
That's his slogan this week. All right, Edge, very special thank you for impromptu joining us, and putting up with a couple of Vikings fans and your homie Brian McKinney for the night.
All right,
I appreciate it.
Hey,
thank you very much.
Man. You got a nice show, man. Keep it going.
Oh, thanks.
And Mac, anytime you need me, just give me a call, all right?
Awesome.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, cool. All right.
Nice to meet
All
you.
right, thanks
All right,
again.
same.
All right, guys. I think that's pretty much a wrap with Edgerrin James. We'll be back next week to preview the Christmas Eve game and talk about the 11-3 Vikings or the Edge predicted 10-4 Vikings. All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
It's a good thing, like the random things that I remember, like about specific players that I made. But I know Ron, I brought up to you, Bryant, that specific Edgerrin play from that year. I can't remember what it was, but that's how my brain works. Just remember random things.
It bailed us out with some content tonight.
All right,
you
it did.
All good.
Yep.
Yeah,
you guys have a wonderful night.
I feel like, who did we bring out? I brought somebody else on the spot like that one time, and I can't remember.
Moelde Moore.
Oh, Moelde. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, Edgerrin, I realized it was the Colts, but I knew he was going to his son's game, so that's why I was like, he said, "Well, can you try to move it back?" But he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be in the car," and I was like,
"Okay,
just pop in if you can." So
yeah, it worked. All thanks to Ron's sports savvy.
Yeah,
he's gonna go brag to his coworkers tomorrow. I can't wait to hear about it.
No, it's the one buddy that I have that I remember because I was in 7th grade when he was drafted, and I remember in our geography class, like the project was, we were doing a map of where like athletes were from, like just essentially putting pins in it to kind of see like, oh, how territorial our sports is up. He was like, I need to have Edgerrin James. I don't care what it needs to be to do it. I need to have Edgerrin James. And so I texted him. I was like, "Oh, got your boy on." So.
Yeah, no, and you'll have video evidence of it here shortly because I'll put this one up on YouTube tomorrow. All right, you guys. Yep.
I realized his name said EJ, and I was like, I know they don't realize it's Edgerrin. So that's
I was about ready to announce to the listeners that it was EJ Henderson because you couldn't see him either.
You couldn't see him. Yeah,
that would have been like, what the hell?
I was thinking too. I said, "Oh wait, let me say who it is."
Yeah, he would have been like, I don't even know who that is.
And that's why I didn't want to step in and say something because obviously I've seen EJ around at the Lifetime and stuff before, and so I could tell the facial features weren't quite the same. But I'm like, I couldn't pick out who it was, and I'm like, so yeah. But yeah.
All right, you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll talk next week.
Okay, talk to y'all next week.